Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That, a podcast talking about all of the most awkward and embarrassing... I'll leave that part in. Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That, a podcast talking about all of the most awkward and embarrassing moments people have had whilst working in the arts and entertainment industry. I'm your podcast host, Seb Muirhead, and today we have a returning guest. They are an actor, a producer, an attempted writer, Sally Cheng.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming, back on, first of all.
It's so good to be
back. This is a little celebratory episode, is that right? Sorry, English is
right
my
word.
Second language.
English is my first language.
Is it? So you can correct me throughout it.
No, I'll do a terrible job.
This is a year. We've been at this for a year now. Yeah, the 50th episode.
Yeah.
Kind of, technically not. I've had a couple of bonus episodes in there.
Yeah.
But it is 50th in the show notes. So it's 50th.
Exactly.
You were the very first ever guest.
I was.
Yeah.
And I've heard my name referenced a couple of times on your podcast.
Have you? In good or bad ways? I'll be honest. I can't remember.
There was Laura Brown and...
Enemy of the show, Laura Brown.
Enemy of the show, and she said some awful things, but no, she's gorgeous.
So this is your chance to rebuttal. We'll have you both on sequentially throughout each year, and then you can just reply to each other in really weird, long...
I should have listened to it again recently so I can debunk anything she said. Oh. But I think she said all nice things.
I think so, from memory. For yourself, she said nice things.
Right.
Anyone else, just go back and listen to the Laura Brown episodes. So thank you again for coming on. You were the first ever episode, which was like, I think half of the length of what they go for now.
Yeah.
So fucking strap in, mate. We started off the entire show, essentially, with me talking about almost shitting my pants in an audition.
Yes.
1 year later, have you shit your pants on set yet?
No.
Fuck.
And I'm so sorry, but you are the first person I will call if it ever happens.
Thank you.
I promise you.
I feel weirdly...
Even a fart, even if I fart on set, I will call you.
That can be a text message. You can text that one. But thank you. I feel weirdly privileged for that. I like to be on speed dial. Anyone else, any other friends of the show we've had on, any potential guests, call me if that does happen. I'll get you on instantly.
Amazing.
Please have a shower first. But then after that, shower and change, and you can come straight on the fucking episode. But yes, as our 1 year celebration, I have to say this is also the new year now. How was your Christmas? How was your festive period? How was your new year?
I had a fantastic time and it was all really good.
A little peek behind the curtain for all you beautiful perverts. I'm stockpiling a few of these, so it's still technically December just now. So all of these things Sally has just said is a lie. But that's how good she is at being an actor. That was her peak performance I've seen.
That was a highlight. I don't think I can do better than that.
No, I have seen your other work and you cannot do better than that.
Oh,
I'm joking.
Thank you for the beautiful
Sally
compliment.
is fantastic. Go and check out all of her previous work. Obviously, I only have talented people on this show.
Aww.
Which leads me quite nicely onto a little thing that I'm just springing upon you just now.
Oh.
So we're recounting the past 50 episodes. 50 episodes, 50 guests. Some actually have been doubles, so probably more than 50 guests. But I wanted to ask, who has been your favourite guest of the podcast?
Oh my goodness.
I'm presuming you've listened to every 50 episodes as well.
I've listened to every single one.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I have not listened to every single one.
Well, that is why we're here to now cancel Sally.
I listened to a bunch when I was painting my house. And I think Jess stood out as a highlight.
Yeah,
episode.
Jess Stanley. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the longest episodes as well, I have to say.
Yeah, right. She had some fantastic stories.
She did, didn't she? So many of them
really
as well.
Fun together.
Which is great for me, but when people come in with like 50 stories, I'm like, oh, why is this industry doing this to us? Why must they destroy us so?
And I also texted her to say that we should cancel you for talking about her boobs so much.
Well, this is your time now, Sally. Cancel me. Go for it. I will talk about whoever's boobs I want to on my show. Please don't play that in court. That was a joke. I might edit that part out.
You heard it here, Jess.
No.
Cancel him.
Just don't. I'm sorry. Anyone else as well. Anyone else. I've spoken about your boobs. I'm sorry. It was purely really in funny. A work professional capacity.
And I know you guys have had like good co-star relationships, so I know that it was all good.
We came off a month's worth of shoots together in very secluded Tasmania.
Yeah.
But well, I suppose on the opposite end of that as well, who has been your most hated guest?
Oh, that's so mean. In all honesty, probably me, because I felt so underprepared.
No,
and
that was the first episode.
That was the first episode.
My
and
most
I
hated
felt,
presenting time then as well. But we were just working it out. Now,
Yeah.
look, we're here 1 year later. We're talking
Yeah.
about guests' breasts. That is my new spin-off episode as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my Patreon only. Come on. And we just talk about guests' breasts.
Guests.
And I feel uncomfortable even making this joke just now. So good stuff. We are sitting in Sally's recording studio and I'm sweating and I'm fairly certain not because of the temperature.
And not because
God.
we haven't got much ventilation. So,
No, it's
we might
purely
start
because I'm
getting more
cancelling myself
hysterical.
just now. Fuck. All right.
All right.
Any favourite stories from people at all? Any least favourite stories? I want you to talk about people you love and then inversely talk about everyone that you've hated that you've listened to as well. I'm really trying to get Sally cancelled from
my God.
well, the
Yeah,
Melbourne
you
industry,
are.
but
You're
then the
trying
greater
really
like
hard.
Australian industry and maybe even the worldwide industry as well.
Oh my goodness, yes. If you're listening out there, please don't cancel me. Let's start with Jess because I loved all her stories and I'm trying to think of them specifically, but you sprung it on me.
I
If
did.
I'd
This is
known
really
that-
rude. I know. I was trying to.
that I was
this
getting
is a bit
this
of gotcha
question.
journalism. I wouldn't do this to anyone else, but Sally is so mean to me off the podcast.
Oh, I am not.
She's
I'm
saying
an-
that
I
with
am
a big
as nice
smile on
as
her
pie.
face, and she's crossing her fingers and winking at me at the same time.
I am not.
She is. She's doing all those things, and I cannot be proved otherwise.
I
I'm
have
joking.
a camera recording here.
She pointed
I
to
don't.
under the desk, right up my shorts, which is really weird. So definitely go out and cancel Sally, please.
Oh my God.
Jess's stories were fantastic.
Yeah.
Dancing in a bikini for her mother, which was
Yeah.
for a self-tape.
That was definitely
Yeah.
peak embarrassment.
Being
yeah.
made to shower with a pair of cycling shorts boob top.
Oh, that was so bad.
Yeah, it was awful.
I felt like really defensive on her
Yeah,
behalf.
especially since you come from a costuming background yourself as
yeah,
well.
yeah, that's one of the responsibilities. But that
Yep.
does tie in with one time when this is not one of the stories that
No,
I was
please,
thinking of
jump
telling
on in.
today. But I did do a commercial one time where there wasn't an on-set costume or wardrobe person.
Oh,
And
that's
yeah,
weird.
which is really surprising for commercials because they're always quite well budgeted.
Yeah.
Usually. But on this occasion, production had just organized the outfits and everything. And
that never goes well as well. Just for anyone working production side of things, just get a
Yeah.
costumer, get a
Yeah.
wardrobe on. I know you don't want to spend money on things, but it falls back on it. People, it should not be their responsibility.
Yeah, and the weather wasn't particularly good that day, so there was a lot of drizzly, cold
Yeah.
Melbourne rain, and I was in shorts
wonderful.
and a singlet, so
Oh,
I had
wonderful.
to just kind of like do what I can. to
Did you
keep
have
myself
anyone with
warm.
the umbrellas or the keep warms? Keep warm is like an industry term for a jacket because we love to
Yeah.
put fancy names on things that don't need them.
Yeah, well, my I can't say favorites because there are some like really great costume people out there.
Yeah.
But one of the
Sally was going to name herself there, by the way. Just FYI.
I totally was, but you know what? I don't think that's fair, is it? No, one of the like among many,
Yep.
Fior Lemke is one of the most amazing stylists in Melbourne, and like she's so on top of keeping actors warm and
Fuck yeah.
everything. So if you see her name on the call sheet, you're going to be like well looked after.
Well, I'm not getting that many call sheets through just now, so I don't think I'll be seeing her name anytime soon. But yeah, that is so nice. And it's such a funny thing as well, because you're like, costuming, you're like, yeah, you're just dressing, or not dressing. Well, sometimes you are dressing people, but like you're essentially just looking after the costumes. You're like, no, you're kind of looking after the actors a lot of the time as well.
Yeah.
You're standing there with the umbrellas, with their
Yeah.
jackets.
And back before we had intimacy coordinators.
Yeah. Last
it
year
was-
you're talking about.
Yeah, last year. I like, being costume standby, when I was costume standby, I was sort of like, doing my best to make sure that a young female actress was taken care of during an intimate scene with another male cast member, and it was in a small room, so it had to be a closed set. So
Yeah.
it was like just DP, director, and then me crawled right under a bed holding a blanket to make sure that, she's okay.
That you can spring out and cover up at any point. And
Yeah,
Sally insisted
basically.
on being on those sets. And that is also one of the reasons why Sally can no longer work in costuming. I'm joking.
You are getting me so cancelled.
I'm really actively trying.
Thank God I don't work in costume anymore.
You're getting too many roles, and I think we're going up for the same role, so I'm just trying to cancel you so I can take all of them now.
Yeah, I've got a perfect, 35 to 40 Asian mum that you would be perfect for.
That is what I'm honestly trying to go for, and that's probably why I'm not getting cast that much anymore. They really don't see me as that. But I am joking, of course. And it was funny, before intimacy coordinators, costumers were usually the ones looking after you as well, because they would be the ones standing by and instantly having like a dressing gown or a blanket or something just so you could cover your disgusting naked body. Which is like, it's never romantic. It's never like, it's not necessarily a bad feeling, but it's never a good feeling doing those kind of scenes as well. And especially just with like, as soon as someone calls cut, nobody pays attention to you anymore as well. So you're just kind of like, okay, cool. Is there anyone here that's looking after me now? Like,
actually, in hindsight, what I do realize now, actually, you've just made me aware of it, is that because it was just me in the room, so I was only looking after her, but there was no one looking after him, and he was equally nude with his cocksock, as we have
cocksock, yes.
Oh my God.
Multiple mentions of said cocksock. If you don't know what that is, go back and listen to the Sally Cheng episode, the Laura Brown.
episode.
Oh, was it, I think, Ben Knight's episode as well? We've spoken about cocksocks. Just Google it as well.
It seems to be that when Sally's on a podcast, there is a 100% chance of mentioning a cocksock.
You're the one that brought it up. I didn't want to bring it up.
I know.
I've already been cancelled for speaking about breasts, so you're the one talking about cocksocks now. But we are releasing the Won't Be Forgetting That podcast Cocksock. And Clitmit, I think, as well, is what Laura Brown did for, or came up with for the vaginal area, vaginal area. I'm editing that part. I think we're just going to start again, actually.
Okay.
So hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That podcast, where we're not talking about cocksocks or breasts. Sorry. But you're right, the guys often get overlooked.
And
a
I
lot
realize
of the time
now,
like,
I mean, he was really good at looking after himself, so there was a spare blanket and he would just drape himself like between takes. But it would have been nice for someone to take care of him as well.
Yeah. And a lot of the time as well, it's like, the female's the main, I don't want to say port of call, but like, because most of the time the crew is all guys. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's obviously getting a lot better with that now, but you're like, all right, well, there's one woman looking after one woman here. So, it makes sense too.
I'm super grateful that the industry has made this wonderful change now that I'm on the camera. I mean, in front of the camera. Side of the camera.
Yes, the fun side of the camera.
The fun side of the camera.
How dare you? There's very important jobs behind the camera, Sally.
Yes, that is also true.
Yeah. Cancel Sally. All crew listening, please cancel Sally. Sorry, so enough of, I think, is this bullying? Fun, playful bullying of Sally now?
No, I felt terribly bullied and I'm going to cancel you straight off this
Well,
trip.
I get to edit this podcast, so I'm going to edit out that part. But yes, sorry. Thank you once again for coming on. I genuinely do really appreciate it as well. And
it's good to be here.
Being the first person, being the last person of the podcast, not this episode, but whenever I have my final episode, if we're still friends and our colleagues at that point, I'll get you on. Yeah, we'll see what this year holds.
Give you a rating at the end.
See if either of us get cancelled. But yes, thank you again for coming on. Now, I know last time it was a very short episode comparatively to what I have done previously, or have done for after all of that now, I suppose. And you were saying you had a lot more embarrassing stories that you didn't share.
Yes, and like when I had a really deep and considered thought about it, I found quite a few stories.
Wow.
Is that a good thing or
very
a bad
happy
thing?
with that. Again, I've been saying this a lot more recently. I think, like, my happiness comes from sharing these stories rather than knowing that people have experienced them.
Yeah.
Whatever all these beautiful perverts listening, however they feel, I can't say. But for myself personally, I love to share these stories because they're funny, hopefully cathartic. This is some sort of counselling because God knows no actors can afford counselling. So it's nice to, I feel like, get them out there, especially for new people in the industry. Like, it hopefully gives them a bit more of a heads up of what to expect.
Yeah.
But yes, I do genuinely appreciate you sharing them. And I'm not happy they happened to you, but I'm happy that you can tell me the stories now.
I mean, I think some of them are unavoidable.
Oh, for sure.
I can certainly relate to Jess's dancing in bikini story, because that actually prompted a story that I just remembered. And like, I feel like it's embarrassing to no one except for myself. And maybe the poor casting director who'd had to watch it.
Well, I mean, like, this is the perfect segue to the first story, Sally.
First story.
Is this another casting embarrassment? Because I'll be honest, most of my embarrassing stuff happens in castings.
Yeah, it is a casting embarrassment.
And like, for people that aren't in the industry, or people that are maybe crew that don't have experience with castings, that is like our one time to shine. And it's so much pressure you put on yourself. And not even necessarily the people in the room are putting on you, but like, it's all mental. And you go in there and you're like, well, if I don't get this, I'm not working for a few months. And you've got 5 minutes to make the best impression. So you're very much like, I'm the best version of me, but I also have to seem like I don't want this too much. And I've memorized all my lines, but I can drop that and improvise at the drop of a hat. And there's so much fucking stuff going on.
I think I've gotten really good now of just like not caring to that level.
Yeah.
You know, Bryan Cranston has some great tips about like just showing up on the day and just do your best work on the day and then leave it as that.
I mean, that's fine when you've had Malcolm in the Middle and Breaking Bad. For all of us,
I know, but
struggling actors.
I think it applies throughout.
You are correct as well, right?
Yeah, and then I think, you know, if I can have a really fun time doing the audition, it usually comes through. And the last audition that I booked, which was, do I say what it is?
I mean, it's up to you. I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. It's the Summersby.
The cider commercial. Which is probably will be on air.
It's on air right now. Yeah. And I shot that in the hotel room when I was in Amsterdam overseas.
The TV commercial, not the audition, not the TV commercial.
Yeah, the audition. And when I read it, I'm like, oh, this will be so much fun. And like, I really wanted it because the script was fun, but I had to just put that part of me aside and just have a good time taping it and then not think about it and let it go.
Yeah, especially with TV commercials as well. You're like, this does seem like really fun. And it's the paychecks that come with them as well. Where you're like, I can really do with this 10 grand. Like it's, And then it is when you're for a TV show or a film, you're genuinely a fan of the creators or genuinely a fan of the TV show. You're like, oh boy, how do I tell them I love this without coming across as desperate? So it's fucking hard.
Yeah.
But yes, sorry, we're going to go back to your embarrassing audition.
Yes.
Is this for something you booked or didn't book in the end then?
Thank God I didn't book it, is all I can say.
Okay.
I mean, that's probably over-dramatizing it, but it was for... I can't actually remember what it was for, but it was for a commercial. And, you know, like the casting agency who do these, they're so lovely and they're so great.
Yeah.
And, you know, they often send me really fun comedic ones. But on this occasion, for whatever it was, I had to dance in different period outfits, but as in like 80s, 90s, and 80s, 90s, and today.
Okay.
I think that was what the brief was. And then so for 80s, I am so sorry, but I put like these lycra shorts on and a sports bra, and then I brought my cat in and I was dancing with my cat and my cat hated me so much. And
I'm going to ask, this was a self-tape, so you did this at home.
This
you didn't go into... Yes, okay,
no, I didn't. Yeah, but I am not a great dancer. I just dance around.
Bopped around with a very upset cat.
Jumped around like an idiot with a very upset cat, yes. And then I can't believe I hit send and just went... Well, it's with them now.
It's with the world.
Not much I can do about it now. But because it's still in my my project file,
Oh, so we can post this, is what you're saying.
No.
So join Patreon if you can, guys, and we'll post this on the Patreon account.
No one needs to see that.
We don't need to see it, but we want to see it.
Also, I just scratched the microphone.
Oh, that's quite all right. So you danced in your Lycra outfit for
and
a TV commercial you didn't get.
Yes, and I hope to God that they didn't bother looking at the whole video, because I feel like
that's the one time you hope that they didn't. But I don't know whether I'm giving away any behind the curtain stuff here, but a lot of casting directors will say they'll scrub through things, especially TV commercial castings. Scrub through it. So I don't know, maybe if they're like halfway through your video and like, wow, she's sports bra, colourful shorts, and a cat. You've really gone for something here.
Yeah. And then I think like 2 years or 1.5 years later, there was a totally unrelated commercial audition which had a very similar brief where I had to dance in Lycra again, and it was for a different casting agency as well. I'm like, fuck, I don't need this. This is definitely not me. But I did it anyway. And then I think now in future, I'm just going to contact my agency. Do you think this is really necessary?
Do you think this is real? That one video of you with dancing with your cat and then the Lycra has just made its rounds to all the casting directors. Yeah. And once a year, they all get together and are like, we'll make up this fake campaign and see if she keeps sending us these videos. So again, we'll post this other one as well on the Patreon page. No. I always find it so weird when you have to send in, because a lot of the time now, post-COVID, or I suppose it's still technically COVID's still out there, but everything's opened back up, but everything's self-tapes. Like you send in a tape that you've done at home by yourself, and you don't have the instant answers to questions sometimes. So I sent in one for a washing machine ad in Britain, and I didn't see it anywhere in the brief, but then when I was filling out the form, I like attached the photo of you in your underwear, and I was like, I didn't see this in the brief. Like, I don't know if this is a mistake or if they actually want a photo of me in my underwear, and I don't want to send unsolicited photos of me in my underwear to casting agents. Solicited is fine, whatever gets me the job. But I was like, I emailed them, I was like, hey, I filled out the form and sent it. I just want to double check. Did you need a photo of me in my underwear? And they're like, yeah, if you could send that through, please. And then I went to edit the form and I couldn't edit it. So I was like, hey, I couldn't edit the form. Here's just a photo of me in my underwear. I just sent it back through, and I was like, oh man, that's just somewhere now. And it was all wet as well because I had to pretend like I'd just come out of a washing machine. It was fucking weird.
Yeah. Did you get that job?
No, I didn't get that job as well. I didn't get that job. So
that's annoying.
No, it is upsetting. But again, it could have been worse. Both of us could have danced in front of our respective mothers. Yeah. In our undies.
Yeah. I'm glad that my mother wasn't there.
Did you ever send her through? Did you send her through all your auditions?
Absolutely not.
No.
But Andy, my partner Andy, was in the neighboring room, and I'm just also sorry that he even had to hear that through the walls.
Oh, shout out to Andy. Andy Poole, very talented cinematographer.
Cinematographer? He ogles cinemas?
He does. He just goes around, the pervert he is, just looks at cinemas from the outside. Cinematographer, my apologies. Again, English is my second language.
You could just say DP. There you go.
Yeah, but DP has some weird connotations.
Oh, it does?
I don't want to have to tell you this on the podcast.
Oh, you can just tell me.
Oh, double penetration? That's what most people know DP as. DP is also DOP, which is Director of Photography. Most of the time people don't call it DP because
Seb's brain goes straight in the gutter.
Trust me, it's not just my brain, mate. Type in DP on the internet, you'll see what comes up first.
I usually don't, but thanks for the tip.
Do it after this. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for anyone. This is not a child-friendly podcast. Please do not play this in schools or around playgrounds. This is not okay. Or maybe, like, I don't know, fucking kids know.
Do you have a rating on your podcast?
Explicit.
Okay.
So, yeah, I always click that button because of all the fucks and cunts and DPs that we talk about. And
sometimes DOP, then.
DOP, yes, the DOP. Director of... Sorry, just get a clean take for that one, Sally.
DOP. Director of photography.
Oh, no. I think it's the director of penetration. Which is not what Sally's partner is. Okay? I feel like we've done a massive disservice to Andy here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Poor
0.45.
Andy.
That is, go and check out his
Yes.
work. He's a real person. He doesn't direct penetration that I know of. But you contact him. I'm sure he'd be happy with the work. Anyway, swiftly moving on to some of the other prepared stories that we have.
Yes.
So, since you last came on, I've usually liked to preface any of the stories with, I like to keep the sort of the most salacious ones to the end now, just so all these beautiful perverts keep listening until the end.
Okay.
But I also like to group them together. So if you have any particular stories which group together quite nicely, I always say the nudity ones group together quite nicely. Not saying that you have any, but being in this fucking weird industry, a lot of people have nudity stories.
Uh-huh.
But I was wondering if there's any particular way that you wanted to tell them today.
I don't think so. I just wrote a bunch of stories
Beautiful.
down that
Let's fucking fire through them in that case then, mates.
I maybe put it in slight chronological order, so I'm going to rewind way back to like more than 10 years ago when I was...
When you were 12 years old.
Yes, when I was 12 years old.
Joking. Sally's old as fuck. No, you're not. I think we're the same age, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Sally
slightly
looks...
older than you.
Oh, okay.
But I
Well,
look
Sally
younger
looks
than you.
much younger than I do. She's not a single grey hair in her beard.
Yes, especially my beard.
Especially in her beard. Sally, we're the same age, but Sally looks much younger.
Thank you.
Which is very rude. Anyway, sorry. We're going 10 years ago now.
Yeah, more than 10 years ago, actually. And it was before I had started in the film industry. And I was...
Oh.
Yeah, it was when I was wanting to get into the film industry and I just didn't know how because...
Yeah, because it's
like,
a fucking
how do you...
mystery, right?
It is a mystery.
Yeah.
You can't just go on seek.com and just go, film
I mean,
job.
you can, but you're not going to find anything you want to work on.
No, definitely not. So I actually joined with an extras agency to be an extra. Yeah,
Can
this
I
was
ask
in
where
Brisbane.
about? Brisbane, right?
Yeah.
Which has strange
And-
human beings regardless. And no offense, Brisbane, I do love you, but I think the further north you get in Australia, sometimes the sun does cook people's brains a little
It does
bit.
a bit. I think you're probably right.
Yeah, Brisbane has some interesting characters.
Yes.
And then not to mention extras as well. We have
Definitely.
spoken about them at great length.
You
and I used to
have.
be an extra, so I feel like I can say this myself, right?
And I used to be an extra.
Exactly. So if we do
yeah.
bag you out extras, know it's coming from a place of love.
Yes, and I was called to go on a show called Terra Nova. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, Steven Spielberg produced the first season or something along those lines?
I'm not sure if that was
Or
him
he
that
was the
produced
first episode. It was attached to him because they were trying to bill it, or certainly in Britain, I remember seeing it there.
Right.
They were trying to bill it as like, this is the new Jurassic Park.
A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. So the concept was great, and I really enjoyed the first season. And
Yeah,
I
nice.
was
Is that because you were in it?
oh, absolutely.
Sally only enjoys shows she's been
yes.
in. That's why she's, before the podcast, she's like, I only enjoy Safe Home and most TV commercials. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you were on...
And also Gruen, because I was on Gruen.
Oh, were you on Gruen? That's
Just
cheating. Anyone that doesn't know, Gruen is somebody that talks about TV commercials.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she's slithered her way into Gruen, all right? I'm sorry, anyway. You were on Supernova.
Yeah.
Terra Nova,
No,
sorry.
Terra Nova. Terra Nova. And so for anyone that's watched it, I was one of the sixes in quote marks. So the sixes characters, they went through the time machine and in the sixth group, and
Right.
like that group of people just went a little bit weird, and so like we're sort of like these weird jungle people.
And that's why they filmed in Brisbane. Continue. I'm joking. I love you, Brisbane.
And then, so we all got to get roughed up with the hair and everything. And then we all got really cool weapons. So there's like a line of us extras to get dressed and then go through props where props have like just all these weapons on a tarp and you kind of line up to...
This makes me nervous as a stunt performer. Giving extras weapons makes me very uncomfortable.
Well, just to make you feel assured, these were foam.
It doesn't matter. They will still
You're
take
right.
an eye out.
You're right, and I will tell you about that in a second. No,
Fantastic.
I didn't take anyone's eye out. But yeah, so we all lined up and it's like one guy's getting this hammer thing and one guy's getting like this massive thing. And then came to me and I got a rubber machine gun, like a
Oh,
foam machine
wow.
gun. But it looks really cool because it's like properly
Yeah,
painted to look like it is.
Yep.
But it was, quite soft.
Yep.
And so I got mine. I'm like, yeah, this looks so cool. So I'd be standing in the shoot position constantly throughout the day.
Was there anything you were shooting at on screen, or were you just always ready?
Yeah, so the scene was we had a sabotage scene.
Oh, okay.
So like we all no, what's this, like when everyone comes down and like surrounds
Ambush,
that's
yes,
the
okay.
word. We had an ambush scene. And yeah, so like, I had my gun pointed in front of me at all times. And now that I've worked in the film industry for quite some time, if anyone has worked in the film industry, when you meet an armorer or anyone on set, this is quite nerve-wracking because these rubber guns do look realistic.
Yeah.
And when you mix that in with actual real guns on set,
Were there real guns on the set?
there were also real guns
my
on
God.
set. So when you have real guns on set, with the responsible actor or with the responsible armorer,
Yep.
there are protocols of how you hold it so that everyone feels safe and that there is safety around it at all times.
Very strict protocol. I mean, you even have to look
Exactly.
to just last year, or 2 years ago now, sorry, with the horrible accident that happened on Rust. Like, there's reasons why there's protocols.
Exactly.
Fake quote-unquote guns are still real guns. They just, they can fire.
Yeah.
Blanks, which are still incredibly dangerous. So
Yeah.
if you've got an extra with what looks like a real gun, I presume,
Yeah.
just running around mad.
Here's this silly extra girl, like, with her gun just pointed forwards at all times. And, like, I just
no.
looked like I was ready at all times. And then a really kind stunty said to me, hey, when you're not on, like, you can just point it down. It's okay. You don't have to, like, just point it down, like, have a rest. And I got the hint from him, like, oh, okay. So I pointed down. So that was like one mark of like bad behavior.
That's also, I mean, and it's not your fault. I want to preface that with as well. Like, a prop gun should still be with the armorer because, like you said, people don't know if it's real or not. And if you're pointing that at cast and crew, like, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, there's a lot of protocols around that because even, I remember a whole like triangle conversation between costume, if it's in the holster, props and armorer, like, and we all had to just take advice from the armorer, what they would prefer, and then like props and costume would just do whatever they said, basically. And so after that, I was a bit more well-behaved and I pointed it down. And then, like, at some point during the day, and as we all know, film sets are long days.
Oh, they're so fucking long.
You're standing around with nothing to do for hours and hours and hours. And then, like, later in the afternoon, I must have just, like, I have a child's brain and it loses interest and I just go into my own world. And then there was, like, this really thin, skinny tree with very light branches.
Okay.
I don't know what world I was in, but I was just holding my foam prop gun. I was, like, just smacking this tree, like, pa, 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 pa.
Jesus
like, bang,
Christ.
bang, bang. And I don't know what I was trying to do, but I was just entertaining myself. And someone said to me, hey, I know it's a prop, but, like, please also take care of it. And I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I'm really sorry.
There's so many things there. Like, gun safety is such a big thing on set. And I know it's a prop gun. You know it's a prop gun.
Yeah.
I don't know how many other people know it's a prop gun.
Exactly, yeah.
And that is terrifying to see someone doing that.
Yeah.
Also, very extra behavior as well. And I say extra behavior meaning a lot of different things there. But, like, that is why most of the time you need qualified, like, stunt performers always have some sort of weapon handling. The actors always get told what to do, or even just the armorer nearby to be like, hey, extra, stop chopping this tree down with a gun, please.
And then, like, to make it even worse, like, that
God.
was the...
Why is this story still going, Sally? This is... I am sweating so much.
To make things worse, that was my first time on set. And
wow, okay.
Yeah, so I knew nothing.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about the film industry. I didn't know how things ran.
Yep.
And And then, when it was like rolling action, and then like we're running down and ambushing these people, and then like, because everything was in action, and then like, the stunts and the actors, their acting was so great and realistic. I was caught a little bit off guard of how real it was. And then the camera operators were doing a great job as well, and they were capturing. So I was paired up with a wannabe stunty, and I say wannabe stunty because he's just started stunt training, and he was trying to show me like.
Was he an extra as well?
He was an extra.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
maybe. I don't know.
When we got down to the people we were, like quote attacking in the scene.
Yep.
There were two stunt people, like one's got the other in a headlock kind of a thing, and then there's a camera guy just like filming quite close up to us what was happening.
Yep.
And then I was confronted with the camera lens, like right in front of me. And I swear to God, I probably looked in the camera lens every single time because I'm like, oh my God, that's the oh my God, that's the camera.
So did you step in front of the action?
No.
Oh, okay.
We did exactly what was blocked out and where they wanted us to go. But that was blocked out without a camera.
Yeah, of course.
So then when action was called, there was a camera right there. I'm like, oh my God. And if you've never seen the other end of the camera, it's like quite big, and it's a big square, and then like, this black void.
However they built it, it is made to stare directly into. Yeah. It's so hard when you're starting out, especially, not to just stare down the barrel of a camera. So you were just barreling whilst waving a fake gun around trying to chop down a tree.
And no surprise, my bit was cut from the final product, which...
Yeah, fair enough. I don't think you can be staring into the camera, I'll be honest with you.
I agree with that, yep.
Yeah. And I'm going to say, everything that you have told me in this story, I'm going to say is not your fault, except from trying to chop down the tree. That part is... That's on you, Sally.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, it's so funny as an extra. You can literally just like one day just be like, I'll sign up to an extras agency, and then the next day be on maybe the largest production in Australia with no training. Nobody tells you anything, and you're like, the fuck is going on with everything? Yeah. And then it's so hard not to get in the way of other people as well. And a lot of extras actively try and make their way in front of other people as well. So.
Oh no. Yeah,
real fun.
Yeah. But it is interesting how like I did read all of the instructions in terms of like what time to show up and, what clothes to bring.
Yep.
But you do get quite detailed instructions.
You do, and nobody likes reading instructions. No one likes to read instructions.
But, I was so young and excited that I was reading every single word.
Was there any point in it that says, do not try and chop down any trees on set with props?
Well, I wish there was that instruction, because then I wouldn't have done it.
Any ADs, assistant directors listening? I'm not telling you how to do your job, but maybe next time, just pop that at the bottom of the extras briefing.
Do not gunsling and try to chop cheese.
Chop cheese. Do not try and chop cheese with guns. I reckon that's a good takeaway from this podcast, I'll be honest with you.
That's a good tip.
I'm also pretty amazed that like the prop gun wasn't with the armourer, but again, I don't know the show.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this was like 12, 13
Must have been longer, honestly, because I remember
longer maybe,
back, it must have been like 15 or so years ago, because it was when I was still living back in Britain. I remember seeing that advertised, and I've been out here for 12 years now, so...
Okay, so yeah,
so it definitely would have been longer than that. But
yeah,
so anyone listening, don't give Sally a gun.
I will have you know that I have since taken armory training, and I am very well behaved now.
Last time I worked with Sally on set, she pointed a gun at me by accident.
I did not.
You did. We can cut this part out if you want, but it was on a short film, and you pointed it at me whilst you weren't paying attention, and then you said, don't tell the armourer.
When?
I'm not bringing up any more of this. We can talk off the podcast. DM me.
I did not.
No, all right, we can move on. We'll move on. I'll give this. This can be on next year. You can have a rebuttal to this one.
I am so responsible on set when I have a gun.
Sally is incredibly responsible as well. I've worked multiple times with Sally with live firing guns as well, and I have yet to see her shoot anyone.
Oh, I just remember the short film, but I still don't remember pointing a gun.
Okay. Sally works on too many things, can't even remember the project she's on, let alone when she's threatening people's lives on them. But we'll move past this slander. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hello. Now, before we get into our next story, I've got to tell you the main reason why I'm able to fumble through my awkward and embarrassing day-to-day occasions. Coffee. Now, fortunately for myself and all of the listeners, we have paired with one of Melbourne's best coffee companies, Coffee on Q, a coffee worth talking about. Get ready to caffeinate yourself through your next awkward moment with Coffee on Q's signature Elevate blend. Crafted in-house with precision, each sip delivers delightful flavour notes of strawberry, chocolate and marmalade. And here's the deal you won't want to miss. Coffee on Q is offering an exclusive discount to all our listeners. Simply use the code WBFT15 at checkout to enjoy an incredible 15% off all coffee purchases. That's right, WBFT15 is a key to savings, making sure you're properly awake to remember your next big embarrassing moment. Now, this code is valid for all coffee products, so make sure you stock up on your favourites. And the best part? You can use the code WBFT15 as many times as you like. So don't miss out on the opportunity to enjoy the finest coffee Melbourne has to offer. Simply visit Coffee on Q, and that's QCUE.com.au, and enter the discount code WBFT15 at checkout to unlock 15% off your next coffee order. That's WBFT15 at coffeeonq.com.au. Coffee on Q, where awkward moments pair perfectly with your daily cup. So we're moving on. Are we our next story? Are we still extra? Or have we moved up into the costuming world yet?
We have moved to. Okay. This one's pretty cringe.
Oh,
this is so cringe.
Wonderful.
So I had just started acting, and
How long ago would that have been then?
About 2018, 2019.
Yeah, nice. Because like you were saying, you started off extras, then you went into the costuming and
I did.
wardrobe
Yeah,
world.
yeah. Because I think extras was a way in for me to just kind of have a look on set to see.
It is a great way of learning how sets
Absolutely.
work. If you're switched on and paying attention, it is so good to learn how
Yeah.
a fucking set works, because they are so confusing when you first step on there.
Yeah, just soak it all in.
Yeah.
You can talk to the crew members
Yeah.
when they're not trying to
Yeah,
set
don't do
up
it during a
and-
take or something like that.
and gauge how busy they are like for prepping for the next scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's a great way to just kind of have a look and see the protocols, because it can be very overwhelming. But then
God, yeah.
when you get the swing of things, the rhythm of it, it starts to feel at home and
you don't
at
have to
ease.
concentrate on that, and you can just concentrate on your own job, like
Yeah, that's
costuming
right.
or like acting. Like you're not there being like, what the fuck are all these people doing here?
Yeah, that's
Why are there
right.
12 men in cargo shorts all pretending like they're not vaping, but they're secretly vaping?
Yeah.
Grips, I'm looking at you. Sorry. So this is when we were in the acting world. So
Yeah, so
post
acting world
2018,
now.
19.
Yeah. But it was still fairly early on when I was getting started, and I was I was looking out for some short films that I could do.
Yeah, nice.
And I came across this interesting short film, so I applied, and they asked for a self-tape,
Yeah.
which by that point I had even gotten a backdrop. So
Very fancy.
yeah,
For
so
anyone-
I had
yes.
gotten to that professional level.
Anyone that's listening as well, self-tape is basically just a self-recorded edition.
Yeah.
And you just want a blank background.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, you live in a little one-bedroom apartment, and you don't have a fucking space on the wall, which is
Yeah.
just clear. So a lot of people get pop-up backdrops, they get roll-down backdrops. I mean, some people even paint a wall in their house. But you just want
Yeah.
something clean and clear.
That's right.
Yep.
So during this self-tape, I didn't have a reader,
Oh, no. Did you...
and I reacted to thin air.
Oh, so this is a classic mistake.
This
for-
is
for
classic
early on.
mistake. And now as a professional, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I even got a meeting and a call back with the
you?
filmmakers.
They must have been
Yeah.
desperate.
Or maybe my reactions were so great to thin air.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember, doing it myself and just recording everything. And then again, like it's just in my in my projects.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I scroll far down enough, I'm
It's
like,
there.
oh my god, I did that. Oh god.
Sally, we have so much stuff to post on the Patreon page after this. I cannot wait. But again, for anyone listening that's not in the industry or starting out for certain, if you've got dialogue that you need to do with another person, just rope in a friend, another actor. Fellow actors are always happy to do it because
Preferably
fuck, we all
an
need
actor,
to do it. Yep.
but if you can't get an actor,
partner,
at least
a person
another
off the
human
fucking
being.
streets. Yeah, don't just stand there and then silently react because it looks fucking awful.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your audition was great, but a lot of the time it's bad.
Yeah.
And it's just really enjoyable to watch if it's not you, but fucking terrible to watch if it is you. Because it is like what you said, it's just cringy.
Yeah, it was cringy.
And then you're trying to, it's really hard to react and look like a normal human being when there's nothing else going on. And it's fucking hard enough sometimes when you're doing a self-tape because there is nothing else going on. Somebody's just reading to you. So sometimes you need to react to a car crash or something like that. But when there's not even somebody reading to you, it's just all, it's very amateur dramatics.
Yeah,
and it's
that's
kind of
it.
cringy.
Yeah.
But again, I'm
so
very
cringy.
excited to watch this afterwards.
Oh no, don't.
All of Sally's. You can DM Sally as well. We'll pop in Sally's Instagram handle and
I
everything
will
at the
never
end.
send them to you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, DM her $5. We'll see what happens. DM her. Just DM her anything as well, I reckon. Yeah. All of your most horrible DMs. As a joke as well. Please do not send Sally anything weird. Unless you know her and she wants it from you, then by all means, Laura Brown, if you're listening, send her weird things. Friend of the show,
Brown's
Laura
allowed
Brown.
to send me weird things all the time.
Perfect.
Okay, so another story I have is this is also some more cringe acting on my behalf.
It's just called acting, I think, Sally.
Oh,
Everything we do is just called acting.
No, I think it's
No, I know
definitely
what you
cringe
mean. It
from
is.
me.
Yeah.
So again, like when I was fairly new and getting started, and there was a web series that I saw, and I applied for that, and they asked for an audition, and then I got through the audition, and then and it was comedic based, and it was improvised, and you kind of build a character, and then there's one continuous, let's call it the straight man character who's interviewing these kooky characters.
So did you have to make the character yourself?
I did, yeah. So
wow, how lazy from the filmmaker.
Well, they just, put the call out to see who could come up with kooky characters. And I came up
I would love to see those auditions. I'm so sorry to jump ahead. Did you get cast in this?
I did.
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry, everyone.
So we can find this somewhere as well. I'm sorry. So
I don't know.
Back to the audition. So you came up with a kooky character is a red flag, I'll be honest with you, because that just opens the doors to the fucking strangest stuff.
I don't remember if they said kooky, but
okay.
I interpreted as you can do whatever you want. So I came up with this.
You put on the lycra shorts and a sports bra and grab the cat.
I was very happy to leave the lycra alone.
Yep.
But I came up with this character who was a strange cat lady that lived
so you did bring the
mom's
cat
basement.
In. Oh
no, I didn't have a cat.
Okay.
I didn't bring a cat. Just implied.
Implied cat.
Implied cat lady. Yeah, and I did get the role, and then when it was like filmed, because they were self-funded, so very skeleton crew, very basic. And so, obviously not the highest budget production.
That sounds about right for web series, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, sometimes. But a lot of web series are doing well now, so that's really cool.
Are getting funding pushed towards them now, which is great.
So that's great.
I'm going to presume this was before a lot of the funding came through.
It sure was.
Yep, cool.
And then, we were all really excited to see it come out. And then when it came out and I watched my part, I'm like, oh, God, I am so sorry, everyone. But, how did that even stay in?
So it was all improvised?
It's structured improvised. So you knew what the questions were loosely, and then you just kind of had to behave and respond as that character.
As Cookie Cat Lady.
As Cookie Cat Lady.
CCL.
Yeah. And yeah, I must say that was definitely not my finest performance. And to add to that, I think the sound quality wasn't great, and and like hardly blaming sound on my poor performance, but
actually
it
was
definitely
sound's
didn't help.
sound's
it was
fault.
all sound. It was all sound. God damn it, sound.
Do you happen to have a little bit of Cat Lady in you just now? Could we hear a snippet of the Cat Lady? Any memorable quotes or lines?
No.
Yeah, good. That's what I was... well, I'll be honest, I was hoping you'd say yes, but that's the smart answer. Did this web series get released?
I'm not sure what happened to it, because they sent a link for cast and crew to watch, and they said they were going to do something with it, but I'm not sure what ended up happening. So,
do you know the name of it?
Yes,
you don't
but I'm
have
not going to
to
tell you.
DM Sally. We will find this out. I promise everyone. For Cookie Cat Lady, we must find out. I'm so upset that we're not going to be able to see this
I
as well.
hope no one gets to watch that.
There are so many things which are just like, they're out there somewhere. They're on like a fucking unlisted YouTube video, or they're on somebody's hard drive, and you're like, I really fucking hope this never sees the light of day.
I hope this never surfaces.
Yeah, I know, because it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
I have... And I don't know, I'm sure it's not anywhere else, but when I was 18, I did a short film for one of the Edinburgh universities, and it was bad. It was like fucking awful, and I didn't put in any work for it. Like, there's points, there was one point where I was like asleep and woke up, and I was chatting to the girl I was seeing in the short film. We were chatting in bed, and I was like, I'm chewing gum. I can clearly see I'm chewing gum in this scene.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I was like, why didn't I just take the gum out my mouth? Why would I be asleep with
you
gum in my
lazy
mouth?
actor.
I know, right? It's just so much of that, and it's just and I'm... if the director's gone on to make good things, fucking good on you, but the film's premise was dog shit. It was so bad, and it was like, it's on a hard drive I have.
Yeah.
So maybe Patreon video will be posted on there. If I can't bully Sally into posting
Put it on Instagram.
I'm also going to have Sally CCL Cheng now as well as your episode title. So any film directors as well that are listening, if you do want any Cookie Cat Ladies, I mean, get in touch with Sally.
Yes, get in touch with me. I will do a better job of it.
The same job would be good. She has it in her repertoire. Yeah. So
yes.
We've done a few comedy sketches before. I can't believe we've never done one with me interviewing you as Crazy Cat Lady.
Cat Lady.
We'll do that after this, by the way.
Yeah, coming to you soon.
But it's a lot of the time when you're starting out, and like actors, you do classes, you have a coach sometimes, but they're not always there to stop you. Especially starting out. You make a lot of mistakes, which are recorded. And again, for better or worse, like if you have enough time that's passed and you can look back at them and you're like, this is fucked. Or if you come onto a podcast and talk about them, like it's funny.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you're like, I don't know how to delete this fully from the internet. I can't get rid of this. And you just hope it never surfaces.
We live in an age now where everything is recorded, and it's very difficult to
get rid of it. But then also it's hard to find sometimes as well, because there is so much other content out there. So it kind of works both ways.
Yeah, it's good to wash it out with good content. Everyone just makes some better content, so we wash out the bad ones.
Exactly, right? I do enjoy the bad ones sometimes, so I really enjoy a fucking terrible
Well, you know what? I kind of do, because I like watching it for why did this fail and why did it go wrong? Like, why is it bad? So then it's sort of like here are the mistakes not to make, and then
that's what I think as well. I don't just watch it because I'm like, haha, these people are bad. But again, like, they're making entertainment, and if it's entertaining me, who am I to say that they've done a bad job? Essentially,
like The Room, which is like a cult.
Don't try to make The Room, but if you accidentally make The Room, hey. Fucking Tommy Wiseau, nobody would have known who he was if he made a middling film, but he made a fucking terrible film, and he's had movies and documentaries made about him. That motherfucker still goes to screenings of his horrible film.
Yeah.
And it's not horrible because people enjoy it, like, but like there's still midnight screenings where people shout out the lines to the film and he's there, and people enjoy it one way or another. So I'm genuinely like, if it's that bad, it's good, and that is entertainment. So who the fuck am I to say it's bad?
So is it stupidity or is it genius?
I know, right? Like, I don't know. Like, that's a real deep question for the spin-off podcast. Is it stupidity or is it genius? But yeah, like...
Should I copyright that?
Copyright? That's how it works, right? You just scream it into the ether.
Yeah. Copyright!
Yeah. Fuck. Sally's copyrighted it as well. But I can edit that part out.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in control. But yeah, we've all done horrible things before.
Yes,
It's
I
just
think
whether or not I can bully my guests into releasing that. That's
Never.
the real... We'll see whether Sally wants cancelled from all the stuff at the start. So if that stuff has been left in, it means I haven't got a hold of any of her footage. If there's nothing there at the start of the episode, look at the Patreon page. But it's all right. Moving on from Cookie Cat Lady.
Okay, so the last story I have, maybe a second last story, but I think the other one's not as funny. It's just sad.
Well, I mean, again, I've been saying this a lot recently on the podcast. I like to try and balance out the show now with about 50% comedy and 50% just soul-destroying sadness, which comes from working in the industry. So I think we've had quite a bit of comedy, so maybe the sad story. Can we do the sad story second last, actually, and then end on a high note? Is that all right?
Like they're both a little sad.
Oh, good. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right.
No, they're not sad.
Them,
It's just very embarrassing on my behalf because...
That's perfect. That's what the podcast is.
When you have a conversation with someone and you later realize that I sounded like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I record them 1 hour every week.
Well, this was one of those conversations where I constantly look back and go, what the fuck was I trying to say? I was a fucking idiot. And
it's tough sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can we set the scene? So can I ask, are you happy to name who the conversation was with?
I can name you certain things, like it was for, do you remember over lockdown there was actor LMAO competitions?
Yeah, we were part of them.
We did, yeah.
Yes. So ACTA is in AACTA, is that right? Or ACTAA?
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
AACTA.
Yes, Academy of Australian Cinema and Television Academy.
Oh, well done.
Something like that. I know I said Academy twice there. But yes, ACTA as in that, rather than Sally sounding very Australian and saying actor. So yes, they're an Australian institution. They actually support a lot of Australian, especially independent made productions. So very, very good company, essentially, I suppose. But they did run a lot of stuff during lockdowns, and then just coming out of lockdowns for 30 seconds, 1 minute style at home.
Yeah. Comedy videos,
sketches, skits, stuff like that. Sally and myself did a couple together. I'll maybe even link them in the show notes because they were actually pretty good. Sally wrote one, I wrote one.
Yeah.
The one that I wrote won, the one that Sally wrote didn't.
Oh, flex.
I know. But yeah, genuinely, they are, I think, and I'm biased, but I also hate myself. So, but I really liked them.
I liked them.
And the aforementioned cinema pervert Andy Poole filmed and edited them.
Oh no, poor Andy. He's not a cinema pervert.
That's what you said. Not me.
He's a cinematographer.
Yes, that's sure, whatever that means. No, but I'm joking. He's not a cinema pervert. He's just a regular pervert that enjoys cinema. Andy Poole. I'm so sorry, Andy. I do love you as well. We'll link his company in the show notes as well, just to give him a little back, because we've taken so much from him this episode. But he did film them and edit them as well, so they are very good quality. I think. But yes, sorry, enough tooting our own horn.
Yeah, so through that competition, I had won a trip to Sydney. Yeah. Partnered with Meta, as in Facebook Meta.
As in Meta that owns most of the world.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And I was invited to write another 1 minute something to shoot at their studio.
Like a 1 minute sketch or a 1 minute comedy video or skit or something like that. Yeah.
And I was just so bamboozled by having this awesome opportunity that it just kind of just I don't know, it just completely bamboozled my brain. And I was like, oh my God, I've got to write something. And then like this whole thing is getting produced for me.
Yeah, right.
So
I mean, that's big, especially from
Yeah.
doing something which, I mean, you make these little things for competitions. You're like, I'm not going to win.
yeah.
But then when something does happen, and then you're flown up to Sydney and you're creating content for Mark Zuckerberg,
yeah.
that's pretty big.
Yeah. So like so I got flown up to Sydney and then, met by two of the coordinators and like they showed us around and everything.
Yep.
And I didn't quite catch their titles or what their job titles were. And so I just kind of assumed that these two people just worked under the giant umbrella of Meta.
Okay.
And like it just felt like such a huge company, and
Yeah.
it was like, on the 40-something floor of this very tall building.
Yeah.
With incredible views, and there's like, beautiful catering for breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
And then, we were sitting down and having breakfast, and I just asked the stupidest questions, like...
Questions, plural.
I think it was the one question, but just phrased really badly.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think I asked something, I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something like, so... how did you get this job? Like, how did you come to be?
Oh,
Or something
no.
so cringe. And like,
Why are you here?
why are you, like, how did you get here? And she gave me this look and she, bless her, she was being so lovely and so polite, but I could tell that I just asked a really dumb question.
That's what her
And
answer was.
she was really nice,
Okay,
and she just told me about her work history and what she did before, and that she was a producer before. And then as she was telling me, I realized that she is just a really accomplished producer who now sort of works under Meta as a producer.
Okay.
So then, like, ever since that kind of sank in, I'm like, oh, I understand now, but I just cannot take back the, like...
So she was a producer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were essentially asking, like, why are you a producer?
Yeah.
Or how are you a producer?
Oh, God. I don't remember the exact words, but I just remember my face turning a little beetroot or pale. I'm not sure. But
Simultaneously at the same time.
yeah.
I hate it when those words escape your mouth and you're instantly like, I will do whatever to take back the last 10 seconds of my life. Like, I will honestly, like, please just let this happen so I don't have to awkwardly try and explain myself. Like, oh, no, I know what a producer is. I'm a real actor. Like, I'm not just an influencer, I promise. Yeah, like, I know what I'm doing. I've produced, I'm just going to go and sit at a different table. I'm sorry. I don't know if I have time to film this now.
Yeah.
I probably need to leave.
I have to go. Yeah.
I just need to go and walk into the Sydney Harbour.
But they were so lovely and very friendly and very accommodating to me. So.
I'm sure that they have not had, like, that's not the worst question they've ever been asked. But it's also one of those things. I
sincerely hope not.
You feel like you're constantly the rest of the day trying to tell them that you're not a fucking idiot as well now. And that's rough.
Yeah.
That is a rough one. Yeah. Were there a lot of people sitting at the table at the time?
Yeah, there were two other people sitting
great.
at the table. I'm like, oh, God, now I just look like a complete idiot to everyone.
I'm going to tell a similar story. And it wasn't me that said it, but it was on a production that I made and produced and worked on myself.
Okay.
And there was a very famous comedy group there. And one of the other actors that we had on to film with us, we were all sitting around at lunch, and he's like, so, how did you join that comedy group? And everyone was like, what? And the guy that was in the comedy group, he was like, oh, we all met at uni, like, and we all just made it. And he's like, oh, so you didn't, like, have to audition for it or anything? And it's like, no. And I was like, just let the man eat lunch. What is this? This is so weird.
And I'm like, very interviewy.
Yeah, and I'm like, who do you think this comedy group is? Like, it's not like a job. I mean, it is obviously a job, but it's not like a company like McDonald's where you're like, I'm just going to go and get a job at McDonald's. You're like, yeah, it's a comedy group. Like, obviously they were probably friends. Like, it was very bizarre, and it was very awkward. And all of us talked about it afterwards. But yeah.
I feel like that's me when I was an extra. It's like, how did these people come to be? How did you get this job?
So how are you on this?
How are you on this?
Yeah. What is this show? Why is this
Why
show?
are you here?
Yeah. Why am I here?
Oh, God.
Was that our last story or our second last story then? Do we want to tell our last story?
What was that? I forgot what it was.
That must be a good story in that case then. Thank you. Finish this.
Okay, yes. This is maybe sad. Do we finish on a sad
We can finish
story?
on sad. And if it's really sad, I'll edit it out.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. I want to hear. I think
Okay.
like, these stories are also important as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on a TV show that we both worked on.
Oh, no. Okay, this is getting edited out. Jesus Christ. For a bit of backstory as well, this is actually how we met.
Yes.
2.5 years ago now, probably.
Wow.
Yeah, on this TV
Wow.
show, which I think would be classified as one of the worst fucking things to ever work on. Sally's making a face. It was a fucking nightmare. I'm happy enough to say that on record. I'm not going to name the TV show or anything like that, but
Okay.
it was a fucking nightmare to work on. You don't have to say that.
It was incredibly hard, and there were some protocols that were definitely not followed.
Definitely not followed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Even just a lot of things which nowadays you kind of need like intimacy coordinators for or anything like that really just weren't
which was
there.
a scene that I did that
Yeah.
definitely didn't have an intimacy coordinator.
No, very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
And nobody at the time really knew what was going on, and I think everything was shot so quickly that nobody really knew to speak up. And that was kind of a lot of the show, to be honest with you. And it's only after things had happened you're like, wait a minute, what? Like
Yeah.
that didn't seem all right. But
Yeah.
again, like you want to speak up in the moment, but a lot of the time things happen so quickly that you're like you're not too sure, and a lot of the time
And we
sorry.
talked about gun safety.
Yes.
And there were at times where I'm not 100% convinced I felt entirely safe.
Yeah.
And now that I've done a course in gun safety, so Cameron does these.
Cameron Douglas, very
Yeah.
accomplished armourer in Victoria.
Yeah, and he does these courses occasionally where you get to train yourself so that you can hold a gun for the first time and get that out of your system so that when you're on set and acting, you're not dealing with the fact that, oh my God, I'm holding a real live gun for the first time.
A real life gun which genuinely can kill people. Like if you have blanks in it, that is, and you should always treat a gun whether it's loaded or not like it's loaded.
Yeah.
But like you can genuinely kill someone if you fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like doing that for the first time in front of camera is fucking terrifying.
And the tip that Cameron gave that I take this with me all the time now, if it were ever to come up, is that he said, if you're on set and you ever need to feel safe and if you've got a gun pointed towards you, you are welcome at any time to ask to check the chamber that it's empty, and I will always be happy to show you every single time.
Yep. As any armourer should.
Yeah, and I thought that was a great tip because on that set that we worked on, I'm not sure if it was like my memory is fuzzy, so I can't.
We're both dancing around
sure.
this a little bit as well, essentially, but
Yeah, but there are times when I wish that I had just spoken up and said, "Oh, can I just check the chamber?"
But again, we don't know. And at the end of the day, like it does fall back onto us, but it's not our responsibility because it's like essentially it's not on us to do it. But with that as well, obviously we should always speak up about it. But it's hard to do in the time. And again, when you're not sure of things as well, like we were both a lot more green back then. But I'm sorry. That's a real fucking downer. Sorry, this show, yes.
Yeah, so this is the show. And my scene partner in this, so in this scene, and a lot of this is implied and it's not seen on screen, but it's implied that he then takes advantage of my character.
Yeah.
So prior to the scene, I had gone through it myself and I had rehearsed it myself and made sure that I was emotionally loaded for that moment. And I thought, great, I'm ready, I'm prepared. And then when it came to the shooting time, it was like past midnight and I was on my iPad
Yeah.
playing games on my iPad because I'm like, I have nothing to do now and just waiting until my scene is ready to go.
It's because as well, we didn't have anywhere for ourselves. We just sat on the set, like the whole set. Like we didn't have a green room or anything, so we weren't out
We
the
had
way.
a tent this day, so there
did you?
was
It was our tent.
there was a tent this day, so I was sitting inside the tent staying warm. And I mean, like, this part is definitely my own fault and not production's fault. But I just kind of like chilled out and just was playing on my iPad, and I just didn't think about the scene until they're like, "Oh, Sally, you're up." I'm like, "Okay, I'm ready." And then I realized that my emotional load had evaporated and I was not emotionally loaded at all during the scene.
Too busy in Angry Birds. What were you playing, actually? Do you remember?
I was shooting zombies. It was Plants vs. Zombies. I am like mildly addicted to that game, but let's not talk about addiction.
No, that's an embarrassing thing as well. So you were playing Plants vs. Zombies instead of mentally preparing for one of the heaviest scenes in the show.
I was. And, oh God, I'm never going to work now. No. So then I get on set and then like, yeah, no surprise to anyone, nothing happened emotionally when, oh shit. And it was, quite a close up to my face as well. So
Which is hard to fake.
Exactly. There was no escaping.
Yeah.
I can't even just put water droplets in my eyes to fake it because nothing was there. And I went, oh shit. I've committed career suicide. And, luckily, the director was quite considerate at the time, and he said, did you want to take 5? And I said, yeah, that would be great, thank you. So I went into another room, took 5, and Matt, who was also very supportive, he gave me his phone so I could listen to some music, and then I had
speed ran an emotional load.
And then,
And it worked?
And it worked.
Oh,
and then
right.
I came back and then I was emotionally loaded and the scene ran fine. But
so what you're saying is you can get away with it then. Any new actors, play Plants vs. Zombies, man. It's fine. Just take 5 minutes, listen to some Enya or some other sad music, some Bjork.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And you're done.
But I was mortified by my own preparation because I thought, oh my God, I cannot be doing this on a film set. Like, I need to be ready. But also, to be fair to all actors, these heavy emotional scenes, you're expected to be ready at all times. Yeah. And you could well be waiting for an hour, 2 hours.
And it's not
maybe it doesn't even happen.
That. Yeah, right? Maybe it's cancelled that day and pushed to another day.
Yeah.
And it's fucking tough sitting in those spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I fully get that. Again, I don't think it was the best ran set in the world as well, so you probably weren't given a heads up like 10 minutes till shooting and stuff like that. Because that stuff really does help.
Yeah.
I like to sit in it a little bit, but I don't want to sit in it all day because I think it's just a detriment to your mental health.
I agree. I don't want to sit in it all day, but if I know that the scene is coming up, I would like to. Yeah.
Especially when you've done the work for it as well.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh fuck, I've just fucked everything. Yeah. Stupid iPad. You see why children are so addicted to these fucking things. That's not so sad. I was expecting more sad, especially from that shot. Honestly, I was expecting a lot more sad.
Okay.
But yeah. Oh, phew. Well, thank you so much for coming on again, Sally.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my fucking pleasure, mate. Thank you for being the first guest and the 50th guest. And maybe the 100th guest as well.
Yes.
We'll speak close to the time as well. We'll see if either of us have been cancelled from this episode first off as well. But I didn't speak about anyone's breasts. So there we go.
That's a step up.
Yeah, exactly, right? I'm doing better. New year, new me. 2024. No more mentioning people's breasts. Except from on my other podcast. That's a joke. Yes, so where can people find you? What have you got coming out or just came out as well at time of recording? Nothing's out yet, but I know that this is getting released in the new year, so you will have had some stuff come out.
I believe White Fever will be close to coming out. It is a very fun comedy, and I make an appearance, I think, in episode 1 or 3 or both, which I am not 100% sure.
Just watch
But-
1 and 3. How about that? Probably need to watch
Yeah.
2 as well. Just watch all of it, honestly.
Yeah.
What's that on?
ABC. It'll be on
Fantastic.
ABC. Yeah.
So I will, if it's out at time of release, I'll link it in the show notes. Otherwise, keep an eye out on ABC and ABC iViews where you can catch them afterwards
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
You were just on an episode of Neighbours as well.
I was.
Yep.
So I think that might be on Amazon now.
I believe so. It's either Amazon Prime or Paramount Plus, which is part of Amazon Prime. So I'll link that episode in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
Again, this is not released at time of recording, and we are very unsure whether or not we are on the cutting room floor for a lot of things as actors, but I'm sure you're still in it. But Sally's not in
that
it as well.
would be funny.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they're coming out completely.
I've spooked too many TV shows which I've been cut out of before, so just as a heads up. Again, I'm sure Sally's in it, and it will be linked in the show notes too. I was also on an episode of Neighbours a couple of weeks probably just before that too. So again, if I'm in it, who knows? Did some stunt work in there. I was a bloody police officer pushing back these meddlesome kids.
Oh, you cop, you.
I know, right? But they get to work with friend of the show Laura Brown as well, so that was very fun.
Yeah.
Little,
Poopy Pants Laura Brown.
Poopy Pants Laura Brown. Oh, and friend of the show Heather as well, actually. Assistant stunt coordinator. So
yes, I was there for her first on-screen set on fire.
Oh, wow.
Job.
First on-screen burn for
First
Wolf
on
Creek.
screen, but yeah. So back when I was
So,
doing costumes,
Heather Burridge, incredibly talented stunt performer,
Yeah.
and assistant stunt coordinator now as well.
and I just saw her in a short film as well.
Yes, you just did one as well with
yeah.
again friend of the show Will as well, Will Jones. So he's a stunt performer too. He was the guy chasing her in that film.
Oh, awesome! Yeah,
So I cannot remember the name of the film. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was called.
But a very good short film, I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, also Heather has had one of the most horrifying stories I've ever heard on the podcast. So
Oh, God.
if you want to know what that is, go back and listen to that episode because I'm not bringing it up again.
I don't know if I can handle breaking things. And
It's breaking something, but it's not what you expect to
Okay.
break.
Oh, God.
Again, go back and listen to that episode.
God.
There's me spooking
Okay.
some of my older episodes anyway. If people want to follow you and send you weird DMs online as well, Sally, where can they find you?
Yes, they can find me on Instagram. I am Sally Cheng.
Yes. And are you on anything else? You one of those psychopaths on X or Threads or anything?
No, I
fuck
can't keep
those.
up more than just one,
Yeah,
to be
same,
honest.
Right?
Yeah.
Actually, do you want to spook your partner's business as well?
Yeah, so he's at .45 on Instagram, so you can find him
Perfect.
there, or his website, which is the same.
.com or .com.au?
I can't remember. Try both.
I'll put it in the show notes. Yeah. For cinema pervert Andy Poole. I'm so sorry, you're not really. I joke.
He is the sweetest man.
He is the sweetest man ever. He is lovely. I don't know why I've said any of these things about him. Please,
He's the most
Andy,
opposite
if you're
of
listening,
a pervert.
cancel me. And then, obviously, with any of your upcoming things as well, it'll be posted about on Instagram.
Yeah.
You did a very, I want to say, well accoladed short film. Is that the correct term? It's been viewed by many a film festival.
Yes.
Is that getting any release anytime soon, or are we? I'm talking about Remy here as well, which is taking Sally to
Yeah.
Amsterdam, to other parts of Melbourne, all over the place with the film festivals.
Yeah, so we're waiting to hear back from a couple more. And then I would say at the end of 2024, I will have, that will mark the end of its festival running.
Oh, cool.
And then I'll make sure that it's viewable by lots and lots of people.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out on Instagram for all of that as well.
Yeah.
And then the same as every week, you can find Won't Be Forgetting That Pod across most of the social media platforms. You can find myself, Seb Muirhead, Muirhead, across Instagram and YouTube. Actually, there's a couple of little things on the YouTube with myself and Sally. So if you want to check out any of the comedy sketches that we mentioned before, I'll maybe even link them in the show notes too. If you did enjoy the episode, please do rate it 5 stars, review it, write something in the review. It doesn't have to be nice. It can be horrible or creepy as long as you rate it 5 stars. Interaction is interaction.
It's good that you make sure people know that 5-star is the good end and 1-star is the bad end. I've seen reviews, just random reviews on like Google or something, where someone's rated it 1 star because they thought 1 star is the best. And they wrote like, oh, this restaurant is awesome.
Oh, don't do that. I mean, first of all, who the fuck is doing that?
I I don't know.
Secondly, please don't do that. So I'd like the other end of it as well. So write something horrible about the podcast, but write it 5 stars. Rate it 5 stars, sorry. And also, I do have a Patreon page as well. I know it's fucking tough. Everything's expensive just now, but genuinely, that little bit of money really helps me, firstly, stop losing so much money on the podcast, but it really does help it run. So if you can, that's linked in the show notes too as well. So please do give what little you can. But I want to say again, thank you, Sally, for your second appearance.
My pleasure.
Your yearly appearance on the show.
Yay.
And thank you. See you next year.
See you next year, and I won't see you in between.
No, we will not see you in between.